All right, welcome back to the Elias Smacko Show. It's 11:22 right here on CJD 800. Now, Uber is going to allow its drivers to do some of your chores. A pilot service will allow users to hire drivers and couriers to complete chores, everyday household tasks and projects. They're going to start this off Fort Myers, Florida, and Edmonton, Alberta. So a Canadian city involved in this pilot project. Mitch Joel is with us, tech advisor, investor, and author of Control Alt Delete. Mitch, welcome back to the program.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Elias.
Listen, first things first, are there any services like this that are available right now in Montreal? Like, I know there's TaskRabbit, but does TaskRabbit even operate here?
It was one of my comments that
Yeah.
these services are typically not big in Canada, let alone Montreal. There are services that are very specific, that if you're looking for plumbing, things like that, there are these types of services, but not at this scale like TaskRabbit. So it makes sense that Uber is probably trying to take this business model and replicate it with Uber Tasks in other markets.
Yeah, and I think I've seen services in Montreal that will do the leaves and the snow, but I'm not so sure about just any task that you throw at them here. So what's your take on this? Why is Uber getting involved in the chores and task business?
Yeah, I mean, I think one is to figure out what these tasks are. They're talking about things like snow delivery, laundry, packing, unpacking, holiday decorating, yard cleanup, garden maintenance. All sounds really good, especially when you have a society like ours where there's a bit of an aging population. You might want to do this for a parent or a loved one, things like that. To me, it's very clear what's going on here. This really is a diversification of their revenue stream, right? This allows their Uber employees, whether it's Uber Eats or Uber just general driving, to diversify their business model. It's more than just ride sharing and food delivery. It can increase revenue. I also think there's something about this flexible opportunity, right? The ability to have people doing things where they're not just sitting in a car idling, waiting for the next ride, but might be interested. They might have services they could offer that they would actually like to monetize. And then think about it in terms of people who aren't maybe comfortable doing things like Uber driving or delivering. Perhaps this opens up a whole new stream of part-time workers who might want to offer some time to do things like gift wrapping and stuff.
It's so interesting, Mitch. You said snow delivery. You misspoke. You wanted to say snow removal, and you said snow delivery. I mean, in my mind, because they're starting it out in Fort Myers, Florida, and one of the two cities along with it. So I was like, well, you know what? Maybe Americans, like holiday times, they need snow delivery for the lawn, so they
Hockey's very expensive in Florida. So yeah, it's an easier way to make it happen. There you go.
So
I just know the weather's getting bad. That's why I'm thinking snow delivery.
So that is coming. So listen to this: home laundry, packing and unpacking, yard cleanup, garden maintenance, lawn mowing, as part of these tasks. Boy, it just seems like with the gig economy is now for everything, isn't it?
Yeah. In fact, I was laughing thinking about when it first came out. I was like, oh, I could see this being useful for things like being a midwife and some dental work at home, maybe help someone deliver a baby. Maybe you could do some, I was trying to be ridiculous with what these tasks might be. But then you do think that it's the weekend. I'd like some help doing some gardening, or there are a lot of gifts to pack, or I know my mother-in-law's driveway needs. This does seem like a viable, I'm especially thinking about even younger teenager up, hopefully legal kids who want to do work, but maybe don't have access to a marketplace. This could be a really effective way to, again, have some flexible earning happening. It's very convenient for the consumers. They have the existing infrastructure. You just go on the app, you can make the request, you can see what's there. And clearly, if they're doing this, there's obviously consumer demand, which is the biggest part of the gig economy.
Is there a risk, though, of just offering too many things? And I think I see this all the time, right? When an app
100%.
becomes popular and then they start offering other things like, Airbnb. Now you can book tours and food experiences and that kind of thing. And it's gone far beyond just lodging. Is there a risk of trying to do too much within your app? Because Uber's got the grocery delivery and the food delivery and obviously the taxi-like service, all that stuff. Can they do too much here?
Yeah, I don't want to paint this as a panacea. For all the positives, I think there are quite a few negatives here. One is for sure brand dilution, right? When you're venturing into too many different services, you can definitely dilute it. And Uber's brand identity, making it less synonymous with its core offerings, ride sharing, et cetera, is a problem. I think quality control is another one. Now, they've managed to overcome that because, as we know in the Uber app, you can rate the driver and the driver gets to rate you. So one of the challenges of having this that they can easily overcome is just that system. The fact that the person shows up on time, was clean, was proper, was polite, they did the job well, you could do that. The challenges over and above that that I think are more complex are things like the workers' right and their compensations, having people do things for too cheap, and what does this mean for the gig economy?
Yeah.
I think in certain areas of work, there might be regulatory or liability issues. If somebody gets injured, let's say doing the task, the homework, whatever it might be, and then in general, yes, there's an operational complexity. It's easy to say just plug and play because they have the app. But I think managing a broader range of services adds definite operational complexities, which again could lead to increased costs, many challenges, maintaining the service effectively. It's hard to do that. They built a brand with ride sharing and food delivery.
So why are they doing this? How is Uber doing actually? Like are they bringing in money? Is it a money loser? I don't really even know.
They're performing. I don't know the exact numbers where they're at this quarter. There's no doubt that they've had a big turnaround since Travis was involved and then was let go. Controversy. You could watch the Netflix Spear series or whatever it is about Uber. I do think the model as a business model is extremely viable if it's done well. And I think the fact that they've invested so much in the IT and the infrastructure is the largest hurdle to overcome this. So for all of the challenges of it being maybe not a great idea, I think the good idea side of it almost outweighs it, because you can just look to the things that you might try to do over a weekend and think, wouldn't it be great to have a helping hand here, or have somebody do this for a family member?
But I just think, and I think about the cut that Uber will take out of this. And I think probably if someone needs this stuff right now, where do they go? Do they go to Facebook Marketplace, or they go to Kijiji and they look for people offering these services? And now on Uber, well, what's the cut if someone does that, right? So,
Yeah, I would say, what's the price you're willing to pay for also seeing ratings and commentary versus going to Facebook Marketplace? And as we all know, in Facebook Marketplace, you never know what you're getting.
You never know. Exactly. All right, Mitch, we'll leave it there. We'll be monitoring this pilot project in Edmonton, Alberta. I do think that's an interesting choice, by the way, that they picked a Canadian city. And we'll see how that plays out. Thanks so much, Mitch.
Thanks for your time, Elias.
Mitch Joel is tech advisor, investor, and the author of Control, Alt, Delete. When we return on the Elias Macko Show, we're going to get an update on what is happening in Gaza and Israel. Of course, Hamas has been releasing hostages. Israel has been releasing prisoners in exchange for those hostages. We're getting an update on the latest from Israel next.